Hi, my name is Tom Furby and I play bass for Hillsong Y&F. Today I'm going to be taking you through 3 exercises to make you a better bass player. If you'd like to follow along, you can find tabs for these exercises in the description below. In part 2 of this video, I'll be showing you how I built an effective practice routine and how you can easily do the same. Just click the link below, enter your email, and we'll send it right over. Now let's get started. Some may think this isn't the most fun way to practice. While they'd probably be right, the truth is learning and mastering different scales and exercises is a fundamental part of your development as a bass player. I've personally noticed a big improvement in my playing when I started practicing exercises like these consistently. With these different exercises, make sure you're playing with proper technique, playing each note at the same velocity. With your left hand, make sure you're not grabbing or holding the neck, keeping your thumb in a central position. With your right hand, try to alternate between your 2 fingers for each exercise. As I go through these exercises with you, we'll be using a metronome to keep our timing consistent. If you don't have one already, you can easily find one on the App Store. The one I use is called Tempo. For exercise 1, we're going to be going through the major scale, starting with 3 different fingers. The first one starts with your first finger. So we're going to do it in the key of C, starting on the E string on the 8th fret, and it will sound like this. Pretty simple. It's your standard major scale. This is something that's obviously fundamental to pretty much everything you'll play, knowing how the major scale works. This is the first position. The second starting position is using your second finger. And the third way we'll do it is using our 4th finger to start. The way we'll use this in terms of an exercise is we want to just be going up and down. So if we start with using our first finger, we'll be going up and down like this. Each time we're playing these notes, we're trying to get a consistent sound the whole time, nice and consistent velocity, and nice, clean and clear notes. Now we'll go through the exercise, starting with our first finger. We're using a metronome at 100 beats per minute at the moment. It's a good habit to get into of starting slow and building it up faster and faster. If this is too fast for you, feel free to slow it down to a tempo you're comfortable with until you're ready to speed it up. Back down. We'll go again. Now starting with your second finger. Let's do it one more time. Now starting with your 4th finger. We'll do that one more time as well. Now we'll take these scales and make it a bit faster. So let's go to 140 beats per minute. Let's do it again. Now starting with our second finger again. And one more time. And lastly, starting with our 4th finger. One more time. So with all of these, make sure you're consistently building your tempo up as you see fit. I would normally go in 10 beat increments. And as you get more comfortable, try and push it further and further. As you can see with these scales, it's a great way of learning where the major scale sits on the neck. Having those 3 patterns, you can see that it runs down the fretboard and also up the fretboard, which will just help kind of give you a better grasp of the notes that are available to you within each key. Now in this next exercise, I want to teach you 5 different pentatonic shapes to cover the full length of the fretboard. The pentatonic scale is a scale using 5 notes per octave, and you'll find these patterns extremely common in music. The first pattern we're going to use is often just called the minor pentatonic scale. So we'll keep all of this in the key of C. We'll start with our first finger on the 5th fret of the E string, so it's here, and it goes like this. With all of these patterns as well, make sure you're following the same fingering as I'm doing. This will help you kind of move around the neck as you go through the patterns. So let's do this one now with the metronome at 100 BPM. We'll go one more time. Now we'll do the second pattern. This one is starting with your 2nd finger on the 8th fret. It goes like this. We'll do it one more time. So if we stop for a moment and think about the first and the second pattern and kind of how they're linked together, you'll notice that by starting with your first finger, and then shifting up to the next pattern, you can kind of get away with shifting your whole hand. So shift. Shifting again, up to the second. So the whole idea behind this is by keeping your hand stable in each position, so we've got the first position and then the second position within those patterns, you'll notice that switching between them is actually just one move. Instead of switching several different notes during the scale, you're just switching once on the way up, once on the way down again. So while you're practicing this, you could do something like this where you start going up the first pattern and then down the second pattern. Let's see where we go. 1, 2. And shift up. Shift down. Shift up. Now onto the third pattern. This is starting on the 10th fret. You can use either your middle or your first finger for this one, whatever you feel most comfortable. I feel most comfortable using my first finger. So it goes like this, 2, 3, 4. And again, 2, 3. Now the fourth pattern, we're starting on the 12th fret of the E string. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll do it one more time. 2, 3, 4. And now our last pattern, starting on the 15th fret on the E string. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is another one as well, being up that high. Just make sure your hand is in a stable position, but do whatever feels comfortable in terms of the fingering. So you'll notice here we've gone all the way up to the A on the 17th fret, which is the same as our starting position, just an octave up. So we started here with our first pattern, the minor pentatonic scale. So now if we take patterns 4 and 5, we can also start them here. 2, 3, 4. And pattern number 5, 1, 2. So now if we look at the neck as a whole, we can see that all of these are linked together. And by using that shifting technique, we can kind of get anywhere we want. So if we start and just go up and down each pattern, you'll see how these kind of flow into each other. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Pattern 1. Down pattern 2. Shift up to 3. Down 4, shift up to 5, then back down. We can go all the way down if we want. Then back to our starting position. We could keep going down as well. Pattern. Stuffed up the last bit. The goal should be to build your speed while keeping the notes consistent. Here it is at 200 BPM. 1, 2, 3, 4. When practicing this, try and think of different combinations of stringing different patterns together, whether that's the first, second, and third together and going back down, or maybe it's everything, or maybe you just cover the full length of the neck. I think practicing this at different tempos will help build that, not only your fretting speed, but also the shifting of the hands, which is just a great thing to learn in general, but will help when you're learning things that are a bit more technical. Now on to our third exercise. This exercise is going to be based around the C major scale. For each root note, we'll also play the 1, 3, 5, and 7 all the way up the scale. This pattern will help build your speed, especially when changing strings. The scale goes like this. 2, 3. Here it is at 200 BPM. As you're playing each of these exercises, make sure you're playing each note consistently, starting with a tempo that feels right for you. I would recommend starting at 60 BPM and working your way up in increments of 10 BPM. It's just as important to play clean at the slower tempo as it is the faster tempo. Rushing this process could lead to building bad habits, so take your time and be patient with learning these exercises. Now in part 2 of this video, I'm going to be taking you through how to build an effective practice routine and how to design a routine that fits your day-to-day. To get it, just click the link below, enter your email, and we'll send it right over. See you there.